the revolutionary ankle lock system, an integrated brace built into the boots, delivering unrivaled support, protecting ligaments from twists, tears, and trauma.
Matt Lenihan for Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store and our Kings. We're here, Spencer Fearon. Spencer, look, the weekend we had two fight nights that we're going to take a look at. Obviously, Dave Allen, man of the people, came out to an unbelievable atmosphere in Sheffield. Jaron Ennis did his thing in blistering fashion in Philadelphia. But I want to start with Dave. It's an atmosphere I hadn't heard for a very long time, and it's one of them special moments. I know he came up short to Makhmudov on the night ultimately, but what did you make of what is a very intriguing fight in the heavyweight division?
Um, we it was a very, very intriguing fight. And before I even start, let me just say a massive big up to the London Community Excellence Awards. I got an award yesterday. Myself got an
Yeah,
award for services in sports and boxing. Uh, Drew McKenzie got a Lifetime Achievement Award, and
incredible.
so did young Anthony Yard. So I was fortunate to sit and watch the fights on the zone over the phone with Yard and Tundi. And there's my prediction for the fight, which I gave, was like I had Dave Allen winning in the ninth round. So
Neela.
when he came on really strong in the ninth, even though we was at an awards ceremony, I was going nuts and and the yard was coming, oh, no, calm down. I was going nuts. I was saying, come on, Dave. But it was a very, very good fight. And unfortunately, um, Dave is he's really good at blocking and slipping shots, right?
hmm
But he's not good at rolling and firing back, right? And there's times like if I believe like he could have rolled and fired back, but you know what? It doesn't matter if Dave Allen loses a fight because I could still see him in challenging for the British title for the winner of Jamie TKV versus
Fraser
Frank
Clark.
Clark. Yeah, I could see him. I could see him. I could see him challenging the winner. Um, and it was an incredible. You could see it was taken back
Yeah.
by the atmosphere and everything else. You know, it was like a very, very big arrival for him. And unfortunately, he didn't get the decision. Not like he didn't go. It went against him. It's just that unfortunately, he just wasn't good enough on the night.
hmm
But that's no shame because Magnum is fringe world class fighter, and Dave is he's a fun fighter. He's exciting. He's exciting. He's a fun fighter,
hmm
and, and he's the man of the people. And because he's the man of the people will, I believe, be more forgiving to him of him coming second best. Because I
Yeah.
think eventually, still they can still run him out to do other things. And I think, yeah,
Is that the natural progression for you then? Obviously, we see him. We see he competed with Makhmudov. Look, he didn't disgrace himself. It was he had him. I think if that round has another minute in, he's potentially gets Makhmudov out of there. It was just crazy kind of scene. But is that the natural progression? Then he fights the winner of Jamie TKV and Fraser Clark, and obviously, I know he's fought Fraser before, but this appears to be a different version of Dave Allen than the one who just turned up on the last one.
yeah, you know what? It is a different version of him. But the thing about it is this is whereas he's also there's a trap in this because he's also being like, oh well, I'll just turn up and I'll go through the motions kind of thing, yeah.
hmm
And he's come second best on doing that. And then I think him going into this fight yesterday, I think he could have been a little bit overawed by the occasion.
Mm.
And like if you and I watched his interview afterwards, and when he was coming out, he was saying like, yeah, he felt like he wanted to well up,
Yeah.
right? Which is it's understandable, but that's you getting taken aback by the adulation and the acclaim that you're getting, you know. But I don't think anyone can take anything away from his heart because he properly went for it. You know what I mean? And he
Yeah.
did. He did. He properly went for it. And the thing with him, and I'll tell you why he's so interrelatable, because he's the type of when you're at home and you're watching, you say, all right, come on, you need a big round now. and he was trying his best to go and do that after coming from rounds from behind and stuff.
Yeah.
And he tried it, and this what makes him so fan friendly and what makes him so appeasing to the fight fans. But I mean, unfortunately, he didn't get it. But Matchroom, I believe, will bring him back. I mean, he had 10,000 people there last night, and he didn't disgrace himself. And I think those same 10,000 will still come out to watch him again.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me ask just quickly about Makhmudov then. He said after the fight, look, Anthony Joshua, we want that fight next. Is that the right step for AJ's career? Obviously for Makhmudov, it's a great step. You fight a guy like Anthony Joshua, you know what that brings, not just financially, but it boosts you up commercially as well, depending on how the fight goes. So is it the right fight though for Anthony Joshua at this stage of his career?
The thing about it is right now where Anthony Joshua is, he's in the twilight of his career. And it's been mooted that he could be fighting on Legacy Promotions in Ghana, right? And I also know that Balmoral Promotions in Nigeria they've come up with a sum of money as well for Anthony Joshua, and he does need a dance partner, and it'd be fitting because now the UK public actually know who Makhmudov is, so therefore we know who you are now. So, I reckon it'd be a decent fight for Anthony Joshua. But right now, who else is there for Anthony Joshua to go and fight? So, you might as well take this fight. You might as well.
Agree. Look, the flip side to this was, and I caught the highlights. There weren't very many highlights because it was quite a short fight. Jaron Ennis, I suppose, in many people's eyes, did what we thought, but maybe not that quick. A lot of people were saying knockout, but I'm not sure everyone was thinking first round. I've seen a few comments online. I know Lou DiPella was unhappy with the fight. I think Dan Rafael's, said the same, that the fight wasn't, was a nothing of a fight kind of thing. But that fight was, in the long run, a part of a bigger plan for a Virgil Ortiz and other fighters. Do you get where they're coming from when they're negative on it? And obviously, Jaron Ennis, Eddie Hearn says he believes he's the number one fighter in boxing right now. We see either Terence Crawford out there as well and Alexander Usyk. What do you make of all that? Just sort of sum it up.
What make of the fact that Eddie Hearn said he's the number one fighter on the planet?
Yeah.
Isn't Eddie Hearn his promoter? He's meant to say that, right?
Yeah.
Right. And fair play to Eddie Hearn as well. I mean, I'm kind of liking this new revised Eddie Hearn, but I'm saying Eddie Hearn is meant to, because he's new revised, but he's kind of rekindled some fires in it where he's saying, look, I'm the best promoter in the world. I like that. You know what I mean?
Dana White, that's why he's fired back, and now it's like full steam ahead again.
Yeah, no, and I think that's what I think he needed it. I think he was getting a little bit complacent, young Edward. But I think now, like how the tables have been, the jar's been shaken, and now all the ants are killing each other. So I think it's a good thing. I would also say that Boots is incredibly talented, and I knew this years ago. I mean, I've known his father for what, about 15 years. When I used to go to Philadelphia and spend time with Nazim Richardson, and I used to see his dad in the gym, Bosey. So he's a precocious talent, right? And when I'm saying like he's the next superstar, right? It's taken time for Terence Crawford to get to where he's got to, and now Terence Crawford is there, right? You have to look at when he's saying that he's the best fighter on the planet, and I get it, right? But you got to deal with there's potentiality and there's actuality. And the actuality states that Terence Crawford is the best fighter in the world because look at Terence Crawford's resume, right? From a man who's complaining about his resume, but what he did against Canelo, that puts him, in my eyes, as the pound for pound number one guy, right? I would say that Boots is of the next generation. And I believe that, and he is, because he's uber talented. He's so talented. And he can do some ridiculous things in that ring. And when people you said Dan Raphael was complaining and Lou DiBella?
Yeah, I think so. Lou DiBella's comments was he didn't want to hear any hype, BS, or see more trash posts on his feed. The guy who fought Boots Ennis tonight was awful. It meant nothing. Embarrassing fight.
No, but it wasn't though, because I want you guys to just realize this. right? Boxing is about spectacle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and no doubt, we know the fight that we're trying to get in Virgil Ortiz, right?
Yeah.
And that will be a hard fight for both men. Let's just be real, right?
Yeah.
But what we have to take is the fact that, okay, it was a nothing fight. It was a nothing fight, so I'm going to deal with you like you're a nothing fighter. And that's what he did. And he did it spectacularly. He did it with something right. And if you know, I've been fortunate. I've spoken to Boots quite a few times, and he's blessed our podcast, myself and Tundi, right? And when you talk, he's not about the hype and the this and the trash talk and all. He's a pretty humble, well, he's very stable, right? So he's not like, I'm not gonna run away with this like, oh yeah, this is great. He understands what this is, but this is the business. You give me the opponents, I got to smoke these guys. Because literally I will smoke your boots, and that's what he did. So we can't look at him and say like, oh, I understand where Dan Raphael's coming from. I definitely understand where Lou DiBella's coming from. More Lou DiBella than Dan Raphael, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to say, oh, but this was terrible. This was, no, because it could have been terrible if he'd have went 6 rounds with the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been terrible if he trying to box and do a little showboaty moves, but he's not pulling it off and all the rest of it. He came right. You're not in my league, and I'll show you why you're not in my league, and that's what he did. So no, because it wasn't sold to me like this is a really great competitive fight and blah. No, he gave us what we wanted to see, and for that, then I'm grateful. But also, when I look at his talent, he's a precocious talent that maybe they could have found somebody a bit better to build him up to fight. But I know how things are right now. As soon as anybody hears his name, they're going to outprice themselves anyway.
You mentioned there about how he holds himself, and I was there for the fight with Stanionis,